All right, so the Dolphins get a player who I was very high on coming out of the draft. Chop Robinson goes to to Miami here. I really like this move. And, Chop is a guy who I had an 18 on my board, so he's higher for me than, he ends up getting drafted. I think some people could sit here and say, wait a second, don't you have edge rushers? You have Bradley Chubb, you have Jalen Phillips, you added Shaquille Barrett as maybe some insurance. But, Chubb and Phillips both had injuries. I believe it was Phillips who had the Achilles injury, which, I made a video recently about Achilles injuries. Like, guys' hit rates on coming back, a lot of times they come back, but they usually aren't the same. So hopefully Phillips breaks that trend and is good. But hey, if that happens, then you have 3 good pass rushers. That's good because Chop Robinson is, I think, a really underrated player. And, I could sit here and talk about what I like about him, but hey, it's a film study. Why don't we just get into the film and I can talk about what I think he can bring to the table for Miami. Let's start off with this play. What's going to happen here, it's going to be a one-on-one matchup against the right tackle right here. And really what you're going to see from Chop Robinson is the explosiveness. I mean, quite frankly, I would say this, out of every edge rusher in this class, Chop Robinson's ability to use his speed was better in college than anyone else's one move. Like anyone else's one attribute they had. Chop Robinson's speed it's elite. It just is. Watch how when this begins. I mean, that first step, and at this point for a tackle, I mean, it's so hard because you want to get your, right hand ideally all the way over to the left side of Chop Robinson's body. But at this point, he's not even close. You kind of have to go with more of a last resort thing and try to get it on the right side of Chop Robinson's body and just push Robinson behind the quarterback. But he doesn't do that either, and credit to, quarterback for getting rid of the football, but, I mean, got clobbered right after because of the speed of Robinson. And, again, there are ways you could look at this and say, like, well, I mean, there's a long list of guys who get by mostly on speed. They have this, explosive get off, but then once you get to the NFL level, where just the athletes are insane at the offensive line position, you can't quite you just rely on speed, and that is how a lot of, edge rushers end up not working out at the NFL level. I don't think that's the case with Robinson. I think he'll still succeed. And, this is a good example of why, where it's a similar type of thing. Definitely using that explosiveness, on display, but watch his hands as well. Watch him really swipe that right arm away. He understands again, kind of a weird play where how the quarterback made the throw. But still, for Robinson, I think he has a good understanding of hands, and I don't think he relies on speed because that's all he has. I think he relies on speed because that's the best attribute he has, in my opinion, and does a really good job at being able to, get around these players. Like a play like this, I mean, quite frankly, the college offensive linemen were often shocked at what to do with him sometimes. I don't think they had seen a guy like him, really. He is kind of on that next level sometimes in terms of the speed rush, and this play is a good example where it's a left tackle who's going to block him. When this play begins, you see him kind of blow by that left tackle right there. And at this point, it doesn't actually look like a terrible situation, right? I mean, it's not an ideal situation, but hey, if you're a left tackle, just push Robinson behind your quarterback. Well, again, easier said than done. Watch Robinson almost dodge it a little bit. He goes right by it. Now, again, kind of falls down, and that's one thing I did see on film a lot with Robinson is seems like he would blow a tire relatively frequently, which is, not ideal for sure. Just something he'll have to get cleaned up on. I don't know exactly what that was, but yeah, kind of a weird situation for sure. But going over here, so what's going to happen on this one is it's once again going to be a one-on-one matchup. This time it's the left tackle, and there is a tight end on this play, but tight end is not going to be blocking, so it's kind of relevant, but not really that relevant. Watch how, again, Robinson's going to use the speed, but once again, we have the offensive lineman trying to push Robinson behind the quarterback. Is it going to work out this time? Well, again, Robinson gets by him, barely gets pushed. He goes so quickly on a lot of these plays that offensive linemen can't really get the hand placement they want, but even when they do get hand placement, it really doesn't push him that far back, and it really does kind of feel like, again, there's a lot of boom or bust with Robinson. I do understand why some people are lower on him as a prospect because they're concerned about, again, this style of prospect doesn't always hit. There's no denying it. Why I kind of push back a little bit is that there is no style of prospect. There are individual prospects, and while there are certain things to be mindful of, at the end of the day, if a guy works, it works. And while it's true to say that, like, yes, offensive linemen at the NFL level are better and more equipped to handle a speed rush, if it's an elite move, it's still an elite move even at the NFL level. And like, listen, something like this, it's not all he was able to do either. It's not like all he was doing was running around a tackle. On this play, he's not even going up against a tackle. It's an interior move. You can't just use a speed rush here, really. I mean, again, you can use speed, and he will. Watch what he does. Again, you see the hands right there, quickly getting, kind of using the hands to get around the, right guard's left hand. So the left hand of the right guard is not where he wants it to be. Because of that, Robinson gets right by him, sprints forward, and again, blows up that play. It's just the explosiveness that he has that is unlike anyone else. But again, it's not like all he can do is one different type of move. So I don't know. It's definitely fair to say a little bit of like, is he a fully complete pass rusher? And depending on what you're looking at, you can certainly argue that maybe some other players you would rather have. That's fair. I think reasonable minds can differ with him, but I was very high on Chop Robinson. He was one of my guys, so to speak. I think he's an underrated player, and I think a huge part of what he can do is just consistently win. I mean, he won more consistently than any of the top guys other than Leulatu his last year. Like, his analytics, pass rush wise, were better than everyone else's, and his run defense, which I didn't get to in this video, was actually pretty good. Like, you'd think, oh, this guy probably stinks in run defense. He's actually a lot better than a lot of the other top guys at run defense. So all that put together, I just think the film's really good. Yes, it's a bit of maybe this was even a bit of a repetitive video because it's a lot of similar stuff. But hey, if it's a move that's working, do it. And when he did have to do other stuff, he was able to succeed there too, which is why I'm betting on him to succeed, and we'll see what happens. But yeah, those are my thoughts. What are yours? Let me know in the comments below. Always love hearing from you. And of course, as always, thanks for watching. Hey, you made it to the end of the video. I appreciate that. If you want to see more videos like this, make sure you hit the subscribe button or just click on the channel itself. I will be covering every little detail about this draft, so, if there's anything you're interested in, I'm sure I have a video about it. Make sure you check that out. Also, if you like movies, make sure you check out my movie channel. The link is in the description for that. Have a lot of fun stuff on there, some movie reviews, some tier lists, stuff like that. And also, if you want to just hear more of my general thoughts, follow me on Twitter or X, whatever the hell you want to call it. Link is in the description for that as well. And once again, thanks for watching. I do appreciate it.